And we're back here on Power Perspectives. Yours truly, Pastor Daren Jaime, and we are glad to be here with you in the middle of the summer. And it's hard to believe August is here already. And for those of you that thought that the summer is flying by real quick, you're correct. It is flying by real quick. And for some people, summer is not moving at a fast pace, not as fast as they want it to be. Sometimes you can get into what's called the summer slump. So I want to give you some tips as to what you can do this summer, especially if you're out there in the workforce and you're trying to gear up for, the new season. Want to get you some help, some tips, some information. And so I'm glad to have my good friend, Elizabeth Koraca, who is also an executive coach and a career strategist. For those of you that don't know, she's also a former TV anchor at Reuters Television. And she basically helps people. And she does people, she coaches people, helps people in really getting their maximum out of their job performance, doing the best that they can in their careers. And really, if you're a leader, she's good to really listen to and take her advice from. And she's presently in L.A., in between L.A. and New York. And she's a sister of mine that's been around for many years. And good to have you back here on Power Perspectives. And so, Elizabeth, good to have you.
Thanks, Darren. It is wonderful to be speaking with you today, as always.
It's good. And so what you been up to? I mean, obviously, I know you're working pretty hard and you're helping people out today. And I want to talk today for people who are really in that summer slump. And you're in the summer slump and, you're working and you're trying to get to that place. But somewhere along the line, summer's really got you bogged down. But there's some things that you can really be doing during the course of this summer, really as we get ready moving towards Labor Day.
Yes, the summer slump is real. It's very easy to be distracted by the weather, people on vacation, slow down in the office or your workplace. But you want to make sure you keep on top of things, because if you don't, you're going to have a boatload of work come Labor Day, and that's the last thing you want. So on my summer career checklist, you want to make sure you're setting and you're achieving those summer goals. And even though people might be thinking, well, there's just a month left, well, there's a lot that can be done in a month, okay? So you want to kind of make a mini list of what you want to accomplish by the end of the month. You can write it down, then figure out, okay, what goal do I want to achieve? How am I going to achieve that goal? What is the action I have to take? Then you want to schedule it, because what we know, whatever we schedule in the calendar, that's what gets done.
Yeah, and that is what we pay attention to. But I want to say this. When I think about summer, right, I mean, it's a busy time of year for me as far as, church, work, all of that's concerned. But for many people who are in the workforce, summer seems to be that place of cruise control. And unfortunately for me, I don't get that cruise control. But I talk to a lot of my friends, and they're like, yeah, summer's the time that we're really cruising. But if I'm listening to you, I'm cruising for a bruising if I don't really handle my business.
I love that. I love that, cruising for a bruising. I totally agree. Because what you want to do is, since it is slowing down a bit, you do want to take this time to recharge that battery, fill up that gas tank, do the things for you, do things that you enjoy as well. So trying to stay on top of things, but doesn't have to be a regular grind. Some things are slowing down, but want to figure out, okay, well, what can I do to recharge my battery? Is it a good time now to start doing that project that I always wanted to do, and there never seems to be enough time? But, well, right now, there actually is a bit of extra time.
Yeah, some people have a lot of time on their hands. But so the advice that you give is really during this time, you can really start to renew yourself, refresh yourself. What do I do? I mean, if I'm that guy and I'm that lady out there and I'm saying, listen, I really go at it hard all year long, but I need to make some adjustments personally in my life to create some space for me. What kind of advice do you give in creating that personal space that's going to help me be the best, employee or boss or whatever I am?
Well, you want to check in on those yearly goals. If you made a set of goals either at New Year's for your New Year's resolutions or earlier in the year. You want to check in on those goals. And if you didn't, it's not too late. So you really want to make sure that you're setting the vision for your life. What do you want your life to look like? Your personal life and your professional life. And then from there, you want to write down those goals. You want to write down what you want to accomplish. Maybe you want a different job. Maybe you want to make sure that there's a discussion for promotion or a pay raise, okay? Then from there, you want to figure out what action do I have to take. If I want to get that raise, I need to do my research. What are other people making that are in my position at my company, at my firm, at my business, and in the industry? So I am fully equipped to go in when I talk to the boss.
No, and I just had this moment where I was thinking, like, okay, so you and I talked, and we talked in the beginning of the year about, setting those goals, objectives, stuff like that. And now that I'm looking, and it just hit me while I'm sitting here, we're in August, which means I'm literally like three quarters of the year is almost over. What do I do if I get to the place where I'm 3/4 of the year in? And no, I haven't hit those goals. I haven't done those things. Those things I talked about doing in the new year, I kind of put off because I got too busy, or I just got, I got caught up in other things. What advice do you have for me? Because that could take me into a new mental of, oh, I'll never get this done.
Well, you know what? It's not too late, okay? You always want to remember that your goals document is a living and breathing document. It can always be changed because sometimes a goal we set at January is no longer realistic, and sometimes a goal we set, in January or earlier in the year is realistic. So you want to take a look at those goals that are still realistic. You want to tweak them. You want to bring them up to date, and you underneath each goal, you always want to write down what's the action item. How am I going to make it happen? Who do I have to call? Who do I have to meet with? What do I need to do to move this forward? And you want to schedule it in the calendar because whatever gets scheduled in the calendar is what gets done and is most likely not forgotten.
Yeah, I've been guilty of that one. I mean, there's some stuff that I put in the calendar, some stuff that doesn't make it to the calendar. I'm trying to merge 2 and 3 calendars. It has been my pain throughout the course of the summer. Let me give somebody some advice that's out there right now. If you are really trying to handle your business, you got to handle your business. And the way that you handle your business is by learning how to really get a grasp of your day. And I want to talk to people today who are, you're out there, you're working. And it doesn't have to be you're working in corporate America. It could be you're a parent. It could be, you've got a whole lot of stuff to do with extracurricular activities. Elizabeth is a great strategist and coach that can help people to basically get through all of these different aspects. And Elizabeth, let me bring you in on this one here. Day by day, we always go through our routines, but some routines really aren't so productive. So can you give us an idea as to how to create a productive day, whether it's by phone calls, emails, text messages, because sometimes we just do it all whenever it happens, and that's not good. But I think you got a little strategy to really help people to really maximize their day.
Well, yeah, of course you want to have a strategy because you want to be as efficient as possible so you can do the tasks you need to do to move forward and then focus on the things that you actually really want to do and the things that bring you joy. So think about, what do I have on my list? You want to make sure you have your list. Some people call it a capture list. Some people call it, a task list, whatever you like to call it. You want to look at that list and you want to prioritize it. Move the items you need to do first. Move the items you least want to do to the top because, look, we all have those things we don't want to do. Call the insurance company. Call someone that's really long-winded. Call somebody that they're combative and going to give you a hard time. Okay, look, you want to put those things at the top of the list, top of priority list, so you can get them done and cross them off your list so you are not dreading having to speak to this person or having to call the insurance company because that is wasting energy. That is wasting good energy.
Vacation. I need a vacation because I've wasted a whole lot of energy. Tell me why they're important and, particularly why does everybody win taking a vacation?
Everybody wins taking a vacation. You win and your employer, your coworkers, your family members, your friends, because when we don't take vacation, we can experience burnout. And, we've all been there where you get edgy and cranky and you start snapping at people and people are like, whoa, have you taken a vacation? Or, is everything okay? Or you seem kind of stressed. Like, when you start getting those comments, you're probably deep into burnout and you want to avoid that. Now is a great time to take that vacation, because what studies show is that when we take a vacation, we come back more motivated, more refreshed, more excited about what we do. We're bringing more to the table when we get back to work and in our personal life. And you need to, again, fill your gas tank up, because nobody ever wants to run on empty.
Yeah, nobody wants to run on empty, but a lot of people are working on empty, living on empty, and doing empty. So taking time and really taking time for myself, that's been a great pleasure. I've learned how to find a little bit more balance in doing some things that I like to do. But I have to admit that it was a hard road to get there. What advice do you give to people about taking time for yourself and really saying, because, I get it. There's a mom out there that's listening, and the mom says, hey, I've got 3 kids, I've got a husband, I've got a job, I've got some extracurriculars, and it is really hard for me to find time for myself because I'm pouring into all of these other areas of my life. But many times, a lot of people who are listening right now say, that's the biggest challenge I have, taking time for myself. What advice do you have for people in terms of finding that time and taking that time?
Yes, well, that is a great point that you've just made, because if your cup is not full, how can you give to others? If you're running on empty and your gas tank is empty, how can you be giving to others, taking care of others, doing a great job at work? You need to take care of yourself first. So I completely understand and relate with that busy mom. I'm a mother myself. So what I like to do, what I talk to my clients about, is really scheduling the time. Okay, what do I like to do amongst all this busyness of my job and my kids and my family and all the commitments that I have? Where can I squeeze some time in? Make it a priority. Put it at the top of your goals list. What do you like to do? Is it taking a walk? Is it going for dinner or drinks or coffee with girlfriends? Okay, you have kids. Who can watch the kids? Do you have a sitter? Do you have a relative, a grandma or an aunt or a sister, anybody that you trust, of course, that can come over to help you? But if you can schedule that time, it's really going to be beneficial. And then take a look at your calendar. This is a great time, because there is some often extra time that we have in August for ourselves or in general. You want to take a look at your calendar. What does it look like in the next coming months? You want to try to avoid just looking at day to day. You want to have a great perspective. What can I cut out of the calendar? What can be pushed to a later date? You want to do that, especially going into September, so you feel in top of things. You want to feel in control. You want to avoid that feeling of overwhelm when Labor Day hits and all of a sudden kids are back to school. And everybody's expecting more from you.
Yeah, Labor Day is around the corner, and for many of us, we know that when Labor Day comes, for us here in Syracuse, when we hear Labor Day, that's the last day of the New York State Fair, and it's a sign that summer has officially come to an end. But here we are in August, and this is what I call, if you will, like the 2-minute warning, because we're right at the point where we're between August and Labor Day. It's about a 2-minute warning. So give us, from your perspective, 2-minute warning between now and Labor Day. What are the most important things I need to do for me to get myself together?
Okay. So again, you want to look at those goals, right? Mm-hmm. You want to look at the summer goals, long-term goals, and now it's also...
Oh, not to cut you off, but if you haven't made goals, we should be making goals, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's not too late. It is never too late to make goals. And it doesn't have to be this long, elaborate document. It can be in the notes of your phone. It can be like 5 or 6 bullet points. Make it simple for yourself. Make them realistic, too, so you can accomplish it. You have that great sense of accomplishment. You want to tidy up that work office. You want to tidy up the calendar. You want to have some self-care. What can I do right now to beat burnout? You touched upon vacation. Look, it is so important to recharge, but if you can't afford it, it's not in your budget right now, or you don't have someone to take care of the kids, a staycation. Don't forget that staycation. That is so important.
Been there, done that.
Yes, me too, to refuel, and that's a low cost to you, right?
That is.
And again, you want to do something you've always wanted to try or been on your, kind of to-do list forever. Like, for example, I've always wanted to write a book. I've always talked about it, how to speak with confidence, how to present yourself, how to feel better, how to stay in charge and in control. And you know what, Darren? I've started it this August.
Wow. How long? So you ready to start a book?
Yes.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Gotta put it to paper, and gotta go after the goals, and because here's what I think the biggest challenge for a lot of people is: we get to a place where we hit that wall, and when you hit the wall, you look back, and when you look back, what you find out is there's a lot of stuff I wish I could have done, I should have done, and I didn't do, and then now you spend years in regret based on the fact that there's some stuff that you really wanted to do, had the potential, the ability, and really, if you really want to get down to it, you had the time to do it, but you just opted to do something else. And that's the worst feeling, I think, in the whole wide world.
It is. When we look back and think, I woulda, shoulda, coulda, I wish I had done that, you know what? The bottom line is we only want to look back to learn from it, because if we start to dwell, we kind of go through that negative black spiral that goes down, and we can really feel down on ourselves, and we want to avoid that. So that's why I encourage, we're looking back only to learn from it. Now we're going forward, and you got to, like you said, you've got to put it on paper. You got to put it in a document on your computer or in your phone, so you have a roadmap. You know what to do next. Because what happens is when we don't get it on paper, or we don't have it in our phone, or we don't have it in our computer in a document, is that we get so many great ideas. They're just swirling in our mind. They're unorganized, and it's like tornado or hurricane brain, okay? And that's when we start to feel overwhelmed, or like we're not in charge or in control. So if you have an easy-to-follow goals document, you want to make sure that you follow this. You want to make sure that you're updating it and that it's visible. Because this is what happens. We put our goals in it in January or another time in the year. We close the computer, we put the notebook away, and it's never to be seen again. Or we think around this time of year, oh my goodness, I forgot about the goals or what I wanted to do. If you have that present, you print it out, you have it on your desk, or you have it in a place you can see it, or you put calendar reminders, check in on goals, that is what is going to help you accomplish what you want in your life.
Make sure you do all of that. Elizabeth Koraca is our guest. She is a career strategist. She's, a life coach. She gives a lot of this good advice to people, both on the corporate level, on the personal level, to really help them to advance their game and take their game to the next level. And, everybody needs to talk to somebody. And so, Elizabeth, I want to give you a chance to, share a little bit about you, what you're doing. And if people are out there and they want this on a more in-depth level, how do they go about doing that?
Right. Well, yes, I do this every day. I love to work with people and be a coach. The reason why I got into this field, and I left the field of journalism. I was a television anchor at Reuters, as you mentioned at the beginning of the show, or earlier in the show. And basically, my favorite part of the job was when I would speak to somebody before the interview. We were prepping, right? And we were just chatting before we go on air. And when I saw that somebody was nervous or sweating, or they would tell me how scared they were, being able to give somebody the tips and tools to speak with confidence is so rewarding and fulfilling. And I can remember a time when I was self-doubting, when I didn't feel great about myself, when I felt like, oh my goodness, I have to speak in public or at a meeting, and just there was so much fear. And I never want anyone to have to feel like that, because I'd like to share my tips and tools with people, what I learned through my coaching certification, what I learned in television about how to present yourself, how to speak with confidence and certainty and get what you want. So now I love to share that with my clients, and you can find me on my website, Elizabeth Koraca, KORACA.com, or social media, of course, Facebook, Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram. My handle is at Elizabeth, and last name is Koraca.
Good. And so we want to make sure that people have an opportunity to check in, connect with you, and give some advice. You're a mom, and you're doing the do because you're a mom and you got kids, and now you're working and you're doing all that you're doing. But there are a lot of moms that listen to this show, and sometimes they feel like their goals and their dreams have to be deferred because, of course, we know that motherhood is that first, that first responsibility. In church, we say it's the first ministry is family, of course. But talk to some mothers out there who really are caught between going into doing what they want to do and struggling to just maintain the family.
Yes, I understand, and I can relate to those challenges. Darren, it's interesting when you were speaking, what popped up for me was really sometimes it's about timing, okay? So you don't have to push your dreams and your goals away because your first priority is your family and your first priority is being there for your children. But you can do both, and at different stages throughout, your kid's childhood or what's going on. So if there is a little bit more time in August or another time of the year, that would be a great time. Like for me, August is a little bit slower, like many of us, so I started to write my book, okay? I'm going to have more time in August to write than I am in December, which is like all the excitement for the holiday season, right? And that's when everybody gets really slammed. So I encourage moms to take the time for themselves, to schedule that time, even if it's just once a week, to do something for you so you can recharge. And then, in addition to that, schedule some time weekly, even if it's 15 minutes, to check in on your goals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And think about, what do I need to get done, and what have I always wanted to do? When I think about what would make me the happiest outside of my family, what excites me? What do I want to do? Is it maybe open up a small business? Is it work for a charity? Is it completely change careers or change jobs? Is it always wanting to do an exercise class? A friend invited me the other day. I'm not someone who loves to work out. I think it's really important to exercise. I like to do like light to moderate exercise, maybe a walk or yoga. This was an intense class. It was like one of those Tracy Anderson studios. And you know what, Aaron? Let me tell you. I was definitely the worst in the class. I definitely hit the back, but you know what? I gave it my all. It was they put the temperature to 95 degrees, so I was sweating like crazy. And you know what? It was such a great feeling. It was outside my comfort zone. I didn't look the most fantastic or most graceful in the class. It was such a wonderful feeling to be able to accomplish that. So I do urge people, even if it's something small, to do an exercise class that is like way beyond your scope or your skill set, right? Just to go for it and try it. Because there is that sense of fun. Don't forget to have fun, moms and dads and people out there. We get so busy. There's so many commitments. There's a lot of pressure and stress on people. But you want to make sure, where can I have fun? And that was my answer this week, was where can I have fun? I had it there, and because I was laughing at myself, right?
Girl, I want to see the video. I want to see the video. Oh
my God, that's like blackmail video. I don't want anybody to see that one.
No, I really want to see that. But congratulations. I mean, I think that's something that we all have to do. Try one thing of stepping outside the box. I was watching on Facebook this video of this young guy who was trying to do, I guess what is it called? It's when you go from one side to the other in the air. Oh God, I can't. I'm having a brain. But so you're going from one side to the other in the air,
yes.
And you're suspended in the air. And he just had this greatest aversion and fear of like doing it. And at the end, he just says, "Oh." And he says, "Hell no!" And then he just goes on, and then he tries it, but he gets to the other side, and then he says, "I should have did this a long time ago." And it was a sermon for me in part because we have so much fear about doing certain things, but it's only when you get on the other side do you realize how much you could have done it, you have the ability to do it, and how much time you've wasted in between. So I think I'm preaching that real soon. So, but it just really spoke to me about just going after what you need to go after during the times and the seasons such as now. And so with, this being August, and as we said, it's right before Labor Day, a lot of people out there, whether you're that mom, that dad, whether you're working in the career field, blue collar, white collar, it's time for you to really set some goals or check in on your goals and do what you need to do. And Elizabeth has been here in this segment really helping us to be able to do just that and giving us some real helpful advice. So, Elizabeth, we got to bring you back sometime again soon, hopefully before, the end of the year, because I know that we'll have some challenges around the holidays. So we got to bring you back around the holiday season. But thank you. And for those of you who don't know, Elizabeth and I worked together in television for a long time. And you know what? It's amazing to see because she made a real life decision. And so she's not just talking it, she's really living it. And she was very successful as a news anchor. She was very successful at our TV station. And then all of a sudden, she just made this decision to step out of the box and do this. And I can tell you, Elizabeth, just by how you do it, what you do, you have really found you've really found your niche. And I see you operating and doing some great things and helping people. So keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you, Darren. I really appreciate that. That means so much to me coming from you. And I always love speaking to you and your listeners. Thank
you so much. So listen, we'll have more later on here on Power Perspectives. Thanks, Elizabeth, for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Hope to come back soon.
Okay. And I want you to stay with us here on Power Perspectives because guess what? We got some more show coming up right after this, and we want you to stay with us. We'll be right back.